All right, hello. Hello. How's everybody doing today? You doing good? You? You? I don't know about you. You, though.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
6265. Thanks for 30 months. Pretty good. Doing all right. You're doing great. Right on. All right. We're going to build some core modules today. Also, inverse scale on cubic octags post robotics in the hierarchy are not good for Kerbal. Kerbal does not like that. So, there's that. There's that. There's that. But we'll work on that today. Hold on one second. Just checking something here. Alright. Okay. Everything is good. Going all the way to Falcon 9 at 3 a.m. I mean, dude, I ended up, totally inadvertently ended up doing a 12-hour stream yesterday. Actually, it was like 11 hours and 20 minutes. It wasn't 12, but yeah. I mean, I might go all the way to the end. Oh yeah, it's the moon mission. Oh yeah, no. Yeah, we're doing that. We're doing that. Yeah, we gotta do that. We gotta do that. All right, dudes. We do have a potential for a Starship super heavy static fire today. They are chilling down the lines right now. I've been looking into it.
Discovery, go at throttle.
Soccer news. The Netherlands is, you can call it football. It's fine. I know the difference. Do you though? No. Soccer news. Netherlands is the Group A winner. I watched some of the game, W, believe it or not. They show it on the local news after the local news is done. So I did get to watch a little bit of it. So much flopping, dude. I saw a guy on the Cutter team like bump into the dude on the Netherlands. Like, this was like maybe in the 15th or 10th minute or something. They're having tank farm issues. Okay. Hey, Hypersonic Tier 2 50-month reset. Big 5-0. Let's push to 100. Right on, man. And like, dude, dude, I know it's part of the game. I know you're trying to draw the foul. I get it. These guys, like, break a nail and they fall on the ground and writhe in pain, and it just pisses me off. Dude, I can't do it. I can't do it. I watched it. I watched until the Netherlands scored the second goal, and then I was like, okay, I got stuff I need to do. Dude, I can't watch it. Just play the damn game. Soccer would be amazing if people didn't flop. I'll say that right now. It would be an amazing sport. Like, it's a good sport. I like it. I think it's fun, but dude, just, you should get penalized for flopping. That's why I can't watch basketball anymore, Grav. I really just can't stand it. Is that the definition to don't hate the player, hate the game? I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, if you get caught flopping in the NHL, you get a penalty. That's why I love hockey. Hockey is like, honestly, as I get older, I just like hockey more and more. It's such a good sport. And soccer could be like hockey. That's what bothers me so much. It could be amazing, but it's just... And these guys pretending to limp around on the field. Give me a freaking break. Watch any rugby union? I don't watch rugby, Maltoon, but I know rugby's a good sport. I just didn't really grow up with it too much. I know I'd like it watching it. Let me put it to you like that. Yeah, bring out the magic spray. Yeah. Oh, here, have some cold spray. You're good. Meanwhile, you know, people in American football getting concussed and they're like, ah, put me back out on the field. Like, they get their bell rung and they're like, ha 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 ha. And they're like, oh, no. And rugby players getting kneed in the face and like bleeding all over the place. And like, no, keep going. I don't know, man. Have you ever watched any Canadian football? Yeah, Hypersonic. Doug Flutie. Guy from Massachusetts played in the CFL for a little while. Yeah, exactly, Velanoth. Yeah, I don't know, man. Hey, Envy, what's going on? Don't get me wrong. I'll still watch... guys, I'll watch sports. At the end of the day, I'm a sports nut. Like, I just keep that on the DL on Twitch. Not so much lately, but... I keep that on the DL. I'm a sports nut. I will watch... any sport. I'll watch anything, and I'll enjoy it. I like competition. Competition makes me happy. Is Doug Flutie the guy with the Batmobile? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, congrats on the Netherlands winning. We gotta win today, and the U.S. is playing Iran. You need a lot better chance. Keeson, we're not good at that. We ain't good at that, man. We don't, yeah, dude. Chanting is that's you guys' thing. I am constantly astonished at football fans in like the UK being able to come up with these ridiculous chants for all their players. US is gonna lose to Iran because Iran has better cardio because they run. Will this match lead to a geopolitical crisis? I hope not. AJ, why is not a lot of people hyped for Artemis 1? I've never seen it on the national news. I did. I saw it on the national news. It was on the national news. Pixel, it's I don't know, man. I mean, you could take that two ways. So the first way you could take it is the way that I don't think is right. You could say, nobody cares. This sucks. Why don't people care about this? This is super important. This is ridiculous. Or you could I mean, don't get me wrong. I kind of think that in a little way, shape, or form. Like, I'm a little bummed that not too many people are into it. Maybe when there's people on it, it'll be better. Because nobody cared. None of the national news gave a frick about DM1. They didn't care. They didn't care about DM1. Heck, they didn't even care when DM1's capsule exploded. They don't care. But when DM2 flew, that was a big deal. And it got a lot of people involved in spaceflight. Seriously. I hope for a US win. I think the Netherlands will have it more difficult against Iran. Thanks, man. Thanks for the vote of confidence, I think. Yeah, I want to play against your team because your team sucks more than the other team. Thanks? Thank you, I think. I just noticed. You have a second launch pad? I put that there with Kerbal Konstructs, dude. Yeah. I just put a R&D facility and an open pad out here, Jim. It's because when I started this save, I wanted space to build launch pads that were out of render range of this, and this is pretty much out of render range, and it's definitely out of render range of the runway. But that was for basically me resuming Mission Mode 2. And we ended up not really doing that. Don't worry, I mean, I'm still gonna use these as a landing pad when we go to land like MLV and stuff. We can use it as a landing pad. We call that being Minnesota nice. Ugh. Don't mention Minnesota, please. Is that a mod? Yeah, it's called Kerbal Konstructs Hypersonic with a K. And it's actually pretty sweet. You can go into editor mode like you would go into inventory mode for the Kerbals. You go into editor mode, you can place this stuff down. And I could place it anywhere. Like, I could have Kerbals fly over there somewhere, and I could place a pad down. You could put launch pads wherever you want. You could put facilities wherever you want. It's really cool, actually. I could place the island runway. I'm bumming, though, because the island runway is all one piece, which really sucks, but you can get parts for them, too. People make buildings for Kerbal constructs that you can make. Chris and MacV, thank you very much. Yeah, you could get other mods for other props. Kerbal constructs is really cool. I'll admit, that is one mod that I really wish I had in the past. That would have been that would have made building launch pads a little bit easier, having a nice flat spot. So guess what? It's snowing here. Please don't talk about that. Can you put facilities on Duna? I actually think you can, Hellfish. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can place it anywhere. Here, Kerbal constructs. There are a bunch of other mods to go alongside Kerbal constructs. Yeah, dude, you can do all kinds of stuff with this. Yeah, you can. We can make our own buildings if we really want to. Make your own buildings, make your own launch pads, make your own crawlerways. I could place down another runway, which is kind of what I want to do. Get the Duna, be Elon. Nice.
Griffin,
Yonk!
quality base here. The Eagle has landed.
Big burger, mini burger, big soda, mini soda. Impressive. Very nice. See Paul Allen's card. Oh, beige. I had to have it. I might want to get a better crawlerway. You know, one that doesn't have the ridges in it or something. I mean, heck, you know what the thing is? That wouldn't be too hard to model. I could just 3D model it. You could probably belt that out in a day with the textures and everything. Also, what are you doing right here? Are you doing an Immelman to land your dinosaur? Do you 3D model these? I can, Pixel. I could make this. Sure. I could belt these out. These assets would take a little bit of time to texture and get the Kerbalized texture right, but I could probably model that in a day. Omega's stock-alike structures. That's cool. Hey, the Smarf and the Smab. Spock now. There's also this for the pad. Loopy told me about tundras. Oh wow, look at all these different types of pads. See this LC5 style pad over there? That's definitely what that's supposed to be. So that's supposed to be LC5. That's a custom design. That's also custom. That's LC46 all day. Obviously Complex 39. That's supposed to be 39B with the lightning towers. That's supposed to be LC34. That one is LC14.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Slick 40, Slick 41. I'm not sure what that one's supposed to be. That one kind of looks like Slick 36, but it's not exactly. Singularity, 1913 sub. Yeah, see, the LC5 Redstone style pad would be really useful for me. But you can't do anything with that service structure. It's just static, right? Yeah, see? That's cool. Oh, that other one was LC17. That's Complex 17. Or SLC 17. There's 34. Slick 40. Actually, Slick 40 has a lot more elevation. 40 and 41 have a lot more elevation on this part than you might think. Starship from 39B. You can actually make the parts move if you modeled it right. Oh, there's an ASDS. That's cool. Really cool. Maybe I should have just done that from the start. Just 3D modeled the damn launch pads instead of trying to make them. But, you know, I wanted to not use mods for a long time. I wanted to see how far we could stretch it. But those are still cool, man. Yeah, you could do all kinds of stuff. That's pretty rad. I like the docks. That's cool. But I have a thing about certain mods. Like, I don't like it when you put mods in the game that don't feel like they should be in the game. Like, these feel like they look like stock alike. I'm anal about that. Really, like, these look like they belong in Kerbal. Some of those other mods that we were just looking at, not to say they were bad, like, whatever, it doesn't matter. You play the game the way you want. But these look like they belong, which is cool. You need to write a launch script for the shuttle. An auto sequencer. Cool. Yeah, see, these buildings aren't geometrically complicated. That would not take long to make it. It would take a little bit of time to texture and UV it, unless there's been some innovations on UVs that I don't know about. UVing used to be a lot more difficult than what it is now. Stock-alike station parts redo. I don't want to use GravShark. That's where I'm drawing the line. I don't want parts. I don't want these parts. Like, I don't want modded parts. I'll still use all the parts in the stock game. I think that's a good comfort zone for me, and that's where I'm going to stay. We need a VR headset UV with virtual spray can. Huh? VR headset UV with virtual spray can. Cool. Smart UV projection is made of wind. Supposedly, I've been out of the 3D modeling game for a very, very long time. Supposedly, yeah, there's ways to just, you could just click a button and it'll UV, it'll give you, Krillani, how does it work? It gives you like pretty damn good UVs for what it is? Like, you have to do some slight modifications. Dude, you could not do that when I learned how to 3D model. You had to normal face map project every frigging UV and it sucked. What's UVing? Ever wrap a present for Christmas, dude? Ever wrap a gift? That's UVing. Every 3D model needs information on how the textures should be applied to it. Because if you just make a 3D shape and then you stretch the polygon, the game's not gonna know. I could give you a quick thing on it, dude. I'll show you. So, you know what I'm talking about, but still show it for people? Yeah, so, like, if you have this, right? And then I would want to make a new shader. Oh man, I'm losing it. I'm forgetting how to do all this stuff. I need to make a new shader. Make a new Fong texture, that's fine. Where's the hypershade? Hypershade, there it is. Okay. So this is the shader menu. So I have Fong 2, and we'll just name this checkerboard, right? So watch this. If I go in here and we go to color and we plug in a checkerboard and we apply that checkerboard to the shape, it has a checkerboard. Well, it's called a checkerboard, but that's chess, to be honest with you, but it doesn't matter. You can set your colors here, so say we wanted to go blue or something. Now, just keep it black and white, it doesn't matter. So, fellas, every 3D model has texture information assigned. Now, because this is a primitive, because I just belted it out, like right off the menu right here, polyagonal modeling, the texture gets assigned correctly to it. If I take this face, though, and we scale that face, look at what the textures does. See that? They start bending. See what I mean? Now, if you scale a face in all different directions, that's fine. The texture will stay. Like the top and the bottom are just fine. But look, we made a kaleidoscope here of textures. That's because we stretched the UV information on it. Now, I don't even remember how to do this, to be honest with you. So we can go into face right here and UV editor. Oh boy. Okay. So I'm in the UV editor here, but I forget how to UV vertice right here. We can change the texture, see? See, I'm moving it around on this UV board. UV refers to the space for the texture information to be applied. It's a graph, and it uses U and V as your coordinates for this graph, as opposed to like X and Y. You don't want it to use X and Y because X and Y is your 3D space. That's your 3D space already. You don't want to use that. Blender. What's better, Blender or Maya? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's highly opinion formulated. I would say Blender would probably be good because it's free, but I think Maya is a better program. What's the name of that song now? This one? Yeah, Ryo, like, CAD programs are CAD programs, dudes. You don't... That's the truth. It doesn't really matter. It really doesn't. They all literally do the same thing, but with different buttons. Like UVing, XYZ, coordinates, vertices, faces. They all literally do the same thing. It's like if you were comparing Betamax to VHS or HD DVD to Blu-ray. It doesn't really matter. Like, they both do the same thing. Like, yes, there are some things about, like, Betamax, for instance, that were better than VHS. I'm dating myself a little bit. You know, that's like comparing a cassette tape to a record. Like, they both do the same thing. One is a little bit better, but not that much. Like, there are different pros and cons, you know? I could, Sun Temple. I know you can sculpt in Blender. Can you do that in all of them? I don't know anymore, dude. I don't remember. But if Betamax is just as good, then why is it dead? The adult film industry is the answer to that sentence, along with HD DVD. I mean, guys, if you, like, here, let me put it to you like this. If you want to get into 3D modeling, don't, just get Blender and start teaching yourself. It's not, 3D modeling isn't too bad, but just like engineering, 3D modeling is it's a process, and you have to learn the process. Ford, Chevy, yeah, dude, a Camaro, at the end of the day, a Camaro and a Mustang do the exact same thing. One has pros and cons over the other, but they both do the same. They're both a sports coupe. They're both the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, one might go a little bit faster than the other, but if that's your hallmark for, like, what's a better vehicle, I mean, I guess. Yeah, the thing about CAD programs is that they have a little bit of a steep learning curve. But Kerbal does too. Yeah, hypersonic. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, Blender's cool. Maya's good. Yeah, Metroid. Yeah, the adult film industry. Seriously, that's why VHS there's this kind of thing in the entertainment industry that whatever form of media that the adult film industry takes is usually the one that everybody else does. That was the case with VHS Betamax. That was the case with, DVDs, and then HD DVD versus Blu-ray. They picked Blu-ray. Everybody started adopting Blu-ray in that industry, so that became the standard. Seriously. They're like 5 for 5 on media distribution. Streaming. It's true. I'm not trying to be weird or anything. That's just the facts, man. It's strange. I'm pretty dang sure they went with Blu-ray over HD DVD just because Blu-ray sounded better. Weird, huh? Alright, so this still should be pulling those collider box errors. So we figured out that putting cubic octag struts past robotics, the game just doesn't like it. It has something to do with the robotics not doing well with the cubic octags collider. Now, I was thinking about this yesterday, and we were chasing a problem. I'm a modern cam boy. Please don't rope me in with them. I don't need attention from strangers on the internet, Hypersonic. I do this because I want to educate people about space. Don't rope me in with them. I don't seek attention, please. In fact, when people give me too much attention on stream, I get flustered as hell. I'm like, no. Like that, I still don't know who that was yesterday. Guys, somebody just tipped $500 yesterday. I don't know who they are. They just said, oh, this is long overdue. And I'm like, it was Elon. I still feel very strange about that. I'm like, dude, I don't know you, man. It's like, you guys ever seen Speed? Where that random guy is like, get off the bus! Stop the bus! And Keanu Reeves, the first thing he says to the guy that holds a gun in his face, he's like, I don't know you, man! It's like, I don't know you. Ellis, tell him you don't know me. I'm so confused. But anyway, yeah. Don't rope me in with that man. Don't rope me in, not even as a joke. That ain't funny. Okay, so, fellas, I'm not 100% sure that this is going to cause problems with these mesh colliders. The game is forcing the collider to a positive scale. That, I'm not sure if that's going to cause hierarchical problems down the road. It might. It's possible. I think it probably would be better to take those cubic octags out of the loop. But anyways, speaking of teaching, I got a chance to tell my 3-year-old nephew about the space shuttle. I showed him the engineering footage we usually watch. Cool. Yeah, Aqualex, I don't know if I'm cool with that, dude. I don't like taking copious amounts of money from people. That's very unsettling, dude. But hey, whatever. It is what it is. That's kind of the industry, man. That kind of it's how it works. I did a base landing this morning. I feel like I now know why Phobos is most obviously an asteroid. Nice transfer vehicle. Look at this nerd. Hello, Snecky one. So, the real key to fixing this, right, would be to just take this, set this to 7.5, and get rid of the cubic octags, get them out of the hierarchy. I'm not sure what we're going to replace them with, though. I might just not replace them with anything.
Discovery,
Are those
go at throttle up.
magnetometers? No, it's the Communicatron 8888. Rocket Guy had this idea to use the undeployed antennas as a as the arm structure. The reason is because they're physics-less. They're physics-less parts, so you don't really need to worry about them being a problem. Ticklerton, hey, that's a tier 1 213 sub. Thank you. And that's why I'm not entirely sure that the negative scale collider is going to cause a problem here. I don't think it's going to be an issue. Deploy all the ARM antennas, please. I'm not doing this. I was wondering if it's specifically a cubic octag problem or not. Aqualux, I'm not 100% sure why the cubic octags have that problem. I'm not gonna lie to you. The parts that I'm really worried about, are that cubic octag, that cubic octag, and that cubic octag. The reason why I'm worried about them is because these things are in line for a potential hierarchy, they're in line for a mainline hierarchy, potentially. Okay, that's the right way to say that. If we go, let me just X out of that. CX should get that, should have gotten the hierarchy thing working, so we should just be able to plug block 1 right into it, and it should work. It's ignoring those parts, though. But if you look at the ARM, right? Those cubic octags are on the mainline hierarchy for the ARM, and I'm not 100% sure that that's a good idea. Long story short, I don't know if that's going to be an issue or not. How much bandwidth do you need? Yes. Can you just go joint to joint and gizmo them apart? Sure. Yeah, we could do that, but then I don't have much to attach these things to. And there's the locking ball in there that we'd have to replace in the antenna, and then we'd have to go reconfigure the action groups. It's doable. I wonder if the collision system is independent from it. It's, well, so yeah, it's an inverse scale on the collider box. So once again, inverting scale, okay. Let me take a look. Let me just make sure that I know what I'm talking about here. Box collider does not support negative scalar size. The effective box has been force positive and is likely to give unexpected collision geometry. That's what I'm worried about. But it is a physics-less part, so I'm not too worried about it. You know what I mean? Give me all the bandwidth and data transfer that you have, son. I don't think you heard me. Give me all of it. And what a weird thing that I've noticed, guys, is that this problem only arises on cubic octag parts. So hear me out here. This problem only arises on cubic octagonal parts that are beyond robotic pieces in the hierarchy, which I just don't understand. Can someone ELI 5 what negative scale is? Yeah, I got you, man. Don't worry about it. And, oh, for the earlier topic, we're probably 5 years out at most from significant AI assistance. There are already neural net plugins for many popular 2D art programs. What was the context of that? Alright, so here, Jonas, let me use this p-cone primitive, okay? So, this is in Maya, right? I'm trying to find a shape that's easy for you guys to see. I mean, we could just let's just use this obelisk shape, right? Okay, so, right there's a piece here. Say, in Kerbal, I wanted to place this in symmetry. Okay? I want to place it in sim. UV assistance. Oh, I got you. All right, so if you want to place it in symmetry, you'd think that when you go to place this with the symmetry node on, that it's just going to duplicate this and just put it over here. Right? So you have symmetrical parts, and you move this one in, you move that one in, right? No. On certain parts, what Kerbal is doing is this. So take this part, duplicate it, set its pivot point to the center point between this part and another part, and go to Z scale and invert it. Negative scale. Negative scale will duplicate a part over symmetry. I don't know why Mirror Sim uses this. It's a little strange. But it does work. It's kind of a band-aid thing, but it does work. Now, here's the weird part. I figured out that there was a negative scaling issue yesterday. What I can't figure out, I understand that working on symmetry, right? Because, you know, you have one part, you just literally just turn the other part inside out and move it to the other side, and you get a duplicated part. It works. That works. But your surface normals are inverted. So, you know that texture information that I was showing on this? They're actually facing inward now because it's an inverted scale, if that makes any sense. So, that's a way of doing things. Sometimes you do it for optimization or whatnot, but here's the thing. That cubic octag, that's one of the cubic octags that's giving me problems. But that cubic octag is not in symmetry. It's not even placed on a part that's in symmetry. For whatever reason, attaching a cubic octag to a robotic piece gives it a negative scale attribute, which is strange. I don't understand why that's doing that. I don't understand why Kerbal thinks that that's what's going on. Yeah, Aqualex, they probably, like, okay, why would you use inverse scale if it causes problems? Well, one, I don't think when they made mirror symmetry, when they made the mirror symmetry attribute for Kerbal, I do not think they were expecting robotic parts. So it's probably not made for that, considering the mirror attribute was added in like 2014 and robotic parts are added in like 2019. Okay. Totally different dev team at that point. I assume this is Kraken bait somehow. Well, you needn't look no further than the error message here. Box Collider does not support negative scale. So for some reason, those cubic octags being attached that way are being negative. Their Collider box is being inverse scaled, which is weird. I don't know why. It's only the cubic octags. The effective box size has been force positive and is likely to give unexpected collision geometry. Unexpected collision geometry. That, I don't know for sure, but I'm going to go ahead and say that that's Kraken bait. Is there a negative scale on one of the parts on the joint? No, there isn't, Aqualex, yeah. Very strange. We took this whole thing apart yesterday before the Artemis presser. And, yeah. I thought that these parts were the parts that were wrong. It turns out I just needed to read a little more. It's always the cubic octag strut. Some of the cubic octag struts are just further along in the hierarchy, so you get, I mean, that's the hierarchy in code form right there. Is SVI enabled on those parts? No, none of the cubic octags on this thing should have same vessel collision on them. As long as the enable function is popping up there on all those, yeah, no, they don't. Now, there are cubic octag struts that are in symmetry here that are collidable, and those are the pilot dowels for the external tank, so the tank stays held in place. It could be nothing, guys. It could make the thing explode, because remember, those cubic octags are in the mainline hierarchy. They're... If we go to Theix's vessel viewer, right? The cubic octag is on the main line. 3 of them with that inverse collider on it. So it could be nothing. It could be nothing. We've tested the arm. It says that it's nothing. But so one, Theix's vessel viewer, when I tried to load this yesterday, it hated that. It did not like this at all. It hated that inverse scale. Now, I don't think that that's big of a deal. That it's that big of a deal. I think Theix fixed it by basically ignoring that information, the negative scale functions, and ignoring it. So it does work. The vessel hierarchy still does work. Yeah, I'm not. It should be okay. Yo. Not a destroyer, Blue Flare. It's cruiser. That's a Tycon. That's an old Ticonderoga class. Tycons have this weird, like, fat obelisk-shaped superstructure in the front. But if you look, you can tell that this is a super old Tycon class. So Ticonderogas are cruisers. They're not destroyers. These things... Tycons are the closest thing the U.S. has to a modern battleship. Yeah, they're the closest thing. It's the Yorktown, CG-48, entering Port of Brownsville for scrapping. Shame. But yeah, you can tell that this is a super, 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 super old Ticonderoga. Thomas, I'm guessing this is from the 60s, maybe the 70s, because of the VLS on it. The VLS that's an old school VLS, like from the 60s. So what's that thing? That's not a gun, if you really want to know. Laid down in 81. Interesting. Interesting. They laid it down in 81 with that VLS? That VLS sucks. So, okay. What's VLS? Vertical launch system. Missiles. Okay, those are the missiles. We don't fire guns at each other anymore. Not since World War II. I mean, you still some vehicles still have, you know, like a conventional firearm on it, like a Bushmaster or something, or a Bofors or whatever. But that's a rocket launcher. So what that thing does, it has 2 rocket launchers on the side. And, you know, you can turn it to fire the rockets in whatever direction. And then they point them straight up, and rockets come out of the tubes. Rockets come out of the magazines, and they slide into place, and then you can turn it again and launch. It's a very, very, very early vertical launch system. Somewhere along the line, let's go... Not carrier. Somewhere along the line, they figured out that why would you do that? Why would you have... why have to turn the thing up and reload it? Why not just launch the missiles out of a tube? And that's what they did. They switched it from just one VLS up here to basically an array of tubes that just have the missiles in it. That's it. You don't... So they were like, oh, you know, you can reload the rockets. You can reload the rockets. You can use it over and over again. No. That's stupid. Just put them in the tubes. Why load a missile into the magazine of a ship and then move the missile up to the launcher when the launcher could just be the magazine? SM2 racks, yeah, that's VLS. Yeah, there you go. You guys, the naming is a little bit different, but that's a very early system. That's what most ships have nowadays. See that? That's the battleship That's the guns, so to speak. It's not a gun, it's a missile launcher. Well, rocket launcher, but whatever. Rate of fire is less important when each missile is so expensive. I mean, yeah, that's another thing. But yeah, see, they put the VLS in there, and then they just mounted a regular conventional turret on the front. This is a newer Ticonderoga. That thing is super old. It's super old because it has that thing on it, the old school rocket launcher. And then in the back, where the aft turret is, see, there's another one over there. Another missile launcher. And then those things are... I want to say those are Sea Sparrow missiles, but I could be wrong. And then there's 2 Sea Whiz mounted amidship, fore and aft. That's anti-aircraft defense. It's a Harpoon. Yeah. And then there's phased array radars right there. Those are Aegis. Those are Aegis weapon systems. Oh, radar systems, I should say. This thing only has 2 Sea Whiz on it, huh? PDCs. That's what PDCs are based off of, GrabShark. It's a Mark 20 Phalanx close-in weapon system. So CIWS, or Sea Whiz for short. Yeah, those things are cool. They basically use... believe it or not, I did a high school trig report on those things. And how they work, and how they use... I don't know if this is right. It could be wrong, but basically there's a radar in the top, and it's sending out pings for a missile, and it uses... The radar basically uses... So it pings it so it can get the distance, and it constantly updating the distance can get you the missile's velocity, right? So you have distance to missile, and then velocity of missile, and you can use those two to figure out exactly where you need to shoot. I mean, leading a target like that is all trigonometry anyway. I remember I did an 11th grade trig report on that thing. Do I know if the math was right? I don't know. If the math checked out. So you're saying the missile knows where it is? No, I'm saying the really big gun that fires a lot of 20mm bullets knows where the missile is and will kill it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You've seen the Navy railgun test? Yeah, of course. Those phased array, yeah, Aegis, Aqualex, it's the Aegis system. Aegis is cutting edge, dude. It's even cutting edge by nowadays standards, man, which is actually pretty insane. Literally a Warthog gun in defense form. Yeah, the lag, the light anti-aircraft gun on the Warthog in Halo is a 3-barrel cannon, though. That thing is a 6-barrel cannon, and it's 20mm. 20mm. 20mm minigun. Guys, those things are one step down from the A-10. From the A-10's 30mm Gatling gun. I think you meant A-10. No, I didn't. No. The close-in weapon system shoots 20mm. Yeah. 20mm Oerlikon shells, if you really want to know. EJ, for the last time, is a walrus. What? Yeah. No, not you, Blue Fair. Oh, okay, yeah. Literally a Warthog gun in defense form. Yeah, it's close. It's its younger brother, Blue Flare, believe it or not. Don't get me wrong, it'll still mess your day up. Just as much as the A-10 will. But the GAU-8 shoots depleted uranium. I don't think the close-in weapon systems do that. In addition to the Gatling Sea-Whiz, can also use small rolling airframe missiles and could use lasers in the future. Cool. The Yorktown was hit. Alright, we gotta get back into Kerbal. I got stuff to finish. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's what the Soviets used to do. If they didn't like where you were patrolling, they'd literally just run their ship into you. That's a shame that ship is being scrapped. Yeah, see, look, there's the old school rocket launcher. Not a bad idea, but let's put them in the tubes. Oh, I got a buddy that built a Physics 101 app website years ago, and is a high school physics teacher. It's an amazing visual calculation that projects orbits, etc., etc. Yeah, link it up. Yeah, that dual rail launcher. I called it a VLS. It's not a VLS. It's like a primitive version of one. LM2500 is an industrial marine gas turbine produced by GE Aviation. The 2500 is literally a derivative of the CF6. What? It's a CF6 turbo shaft. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. That's really cool. How much horsepower does it make? It makes 33,000 horsepower. The later versions make 47,000 horsepower. 35,000 kilowatts. That's pretty neat. That's pretty cool. With one mother of a reduction gear. Oh, Dread, I bet, dude. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's pretty cool. I've seen a couple of reduction gears on ships in my time. It's really interesting to see a gearbox that's the size of my garage. That's pretty cool. It's a big freaking transmission that's the size of my garage. Like 300 cubic meter gearbox. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I've seen the gearbox on the USS Massachusetts, the transmission, for the battleship. Ships have a transmission, guys. They have a reduction gear, an extremely big reduction gear, because you don't want your screws on your ship to spin too fast. If they spin too fast, you will do quite literally the ship equivalent of doing a burnout in a car. You'll just the blades will cavitate, and you literally won't go anywhere. They'll just swirl around air, like a blender almost. This Hellcat swapped 1999 Prowler. Oh, that's the engine that thing should have had, man. Oh, that's fancy. That's fancy smancy, dude. That's awesome. It would also wreck the screws. Yeah, you'll break them. Yeah. So they have a gnarly reduction gear in them. So a ship power plant, you really want something that spins at really high RPM. Like a jet engine, for instance, or a steam turbine, to go through the reduction gear. And these gearboxes, guys, are huge. We're talking like a gear set here. I don't know if it's planetary. Believe it or not, like the I don't think it's planetary. It might be planetary gear set though. We're talking planetary. If it is a planetary gear set, we're talking a planetary gear that has like probably a 2-meter diameter or something. Yeah, like a 6-foot gear. It's ridiculous. Hey, Dak, what's going on? Yeah, they're swapping RPMs for torque. Because the screws don't need to spin fast, but they need a lot of power. It's kind of like a helicopter. A helicopter has a crazy reduction gear in it too, and those do use planetary gear sets. But Dread, interesting thing. When I went, the last time I went to the USS Massachusetts, I was with my buddy's stepdad, and my buddy's stepdad was a submarine commander, right? And he was telling me, this was like 10 years ago at least. This is before I started streaming. He was telling me that the gearbox, we had a window into the access hatch, but it was all locked out. It was locked out, like, and wire tied down. And he goes, yeah, it's locked out because the gearbox is literally ITAR. He said they don't want you knowing how that works. And I'm like, huh, I'll be damned. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? And the gearbox on the Massachusetts, a 70-year-old battleship at this point, actually more than that, almost 80, is ITAR even to this day. And he was telling me the reason it's ITAR is because ship propulsion has not changed. The gearbox and the screw thing, and maybe the screw geometry has changed. The propeller, don't call it a propeller. A propeller is an airplane. So with ships, the propellers that are at the bottom of the ship, they're called screws. The screws on a ship, that is something that has changed. But, like, the design, the basic thing, hasn't changed much. It's just how you generate the power. In fact, most ships, like, let's take a Nimitz, for instance. How a Nimitz works and how an Iowa-class battleship works, not that far off. You just need to find something to generate heat. Now, on the Iowa, they use heavy oil. Or they used heavy oil. They used bunker C, which is like oil with the consistency of pudding. Pudding on Apollo 8. And that bunker C, the bunker C fuel oil burns extremely hot. Like really, really freaking hot. And you can get a lot of energy out of it. But like a Nimitz, and they so like with an Iowa, okay, so back up a second. With the Iowa, they heat that bunker C and it heats up water and it turns a steam turbine. And the steam turbine goes to the gearbox, it goes out the screws. On a Nimitz, it's just a nuclear power plant. There's a nuclear reactor in there. And that heats up water and generates power. So, yeah. The whole steam turbine thing is still the same. Still, that hasn't changed very much because it doesn't need to change because why reinvent the wheel? But the nuclear reactor has changed. And how they make the heat, obviously with a nuke, has changed as well. CRAM picture. Oh, look at that. Did you know General Electric made things that spin to clean, but also made things that spin to make things disappear? Thanks for the pro tip, man. Yeah, fun fact. That was a little bit of a stretch, Flykin, but alright. Anyway, let's get back to our shuttle. So, guys, with this, I'm not sure if that's going to be a problem or not. We're going to have to kind of send it. If it is a problem, well, future EJ, I'm sorry. I should have fixed it right now, but I don't think that it'll be an issue. Because I've never really had any problems with colliders on stuff like that. If the robotics was throwing an error, then I'd be a little concerned, but it's not, so... Alright, so we'll leave that there, and we'll see how this thing works. Let me just make sure that we still have everything on the SPA multiplier. Okay, perfect. Okay, so there is one thing that I needed to change. And this is what I was setting out to change yesterday, but we didn't get to doing it. Right there. There's a weak spot in my external tank where the hydrogen tank attaches to the inner tank. Right there, tank 2 is connected to fairing 4, and tank 2 in the hierarchy is connected to the adapter right there. It looks like I literally do not have any struts going from tank 2 to the fairing. And now if we go down in here... There's not even a strut going from the adapter. Oof. It's pretty cringe, bro. So I noticed a little bit of a weak spot that I missed in the hierarchy. And the reason why I figured out that this is a weak spot is because when we launched with the unsecured payload in it, a Kraken strike actually hit the tank right here and blew the tank in half on the way up, which was not ideal. So what I'm going to do for my ET is just add a set of struts right there. And this is not main tank to fairing, but it's adapter to fairing, which should fix that problem. Oh, it is strutted. It's strutted out there. Okay, perfect. That was what I was missing. So I'm going to add those. That should reinforce the tank and prevent it from ever Kraken striking. Three-way symmetry, yes. Mm-hmm. see, there's struts going there now. Perfect. All right, excellent. That should fix that problem. It wasn't a problem going up into space, but we had an unsecured payload, and it did induce a strike there. I added those struts to make sure that that strike literally never happens. Yeah, one more way to make the thing a little bit more safe. Well, I shouldn't say safe. Let's say reliable, because safety comes from reliability of systems. What does ITAR do exactly? Are they like the FBI, CIA for rockets? They're an export control mechanism, Flykin. No, there's no like one agency that enforces ITAR. Export controls is pretty treasonous. It's a crime. If we say don't give missile secrets to a foreign adversary, right? And you do, well, that's one, you're breaking a lot of laws doing that. But yeah, we don't want bad actors getting weapon systems that could be used against us. Why would we want to do that? That's stupid. ITAR isn't an agency. No, it's export control laws. ITAR is a set of rules. That's correct. Mm-hmm. Alright. So the shuttle, I think, is good. Let's get to that station module here. So we need a core module for the station. I think I have a craft file here that I was using. Space station prototype. Here we go. Yeah, it's this. We were hung up on how to make that docking port. So the FAA functions under ITAR specifically. I don't know how you possibly got that from what I said, but no. Okay, I'm genuinely curious. How did you get the FAA? The Federal Aviation Administration does not enforce ITAR. They don't do it. ITAR is a set of laws, okay?
Discovery, go at throttle up.
They're federal laws, so they're not really subject to regional jurisdiction. The FBI would be the people that would technically be enforcing these laws, but how do you actively enforce these laws? You don't actively enforce these laws. You just figure out when somebody breaks these laws, you enforce the law. You know what I mean? You don't need to go out on patrol for ITAR. Yeah, that's basically the FBI's wheelhouse with that kind of stuff. I got 4 hours of sleep last night. Cut me some slack. Okay. Alright. Anyway, so we need to build station modules. Now, I'm not sure we have the docking mechanism figured out exactly. We just need some type of an alignment dowel. That really is all we need. Thinking. Yeah, of course, Dead Crew. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to it, man. Long story short is, don't give missile secrets to bad actors. Bad idea. Because that's a national security risk. Makes sense. I mean, I don't really necessarily have a problem with it. Anyway, guys, I don't want to talk about ITAR anymore. Let's figure this out. What's that piece for? I'm trying to come up, Jazos, with something basically analogous to the common berthing mechanism. But I'm trying to come up with something, a way to make a CBM that won't break the bank on part counts. Now, what's a CBM? CBMs are basically the attachment mechanism that we use to hold the space station modules together. Yeah, so like all the nodes on the space station are, see? Those things that hold the space station docking modules, those are CBMs. Yeah, this just kind of shows you how nuts some of these missions, some of these ISS assembly missions actually were. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, see, there wasn't a lot of space fans around when they were doing stuff like this, but man, those shuttle assembly missions, you know, while not like going to the moon or anything, were pretty freaking cool, dude. Scott Dad's just had a good video on the Canadarm. Yeah, it's very interesting that he was talking about it too. Because we're like big in on it right now because, yeah, see, that's what the Canadarm can do. Look at that. That's the U.S. Destiny module. That's the U.S. Laboratory module. That is a big module. It's huge. It's the second biggest module on the ISS that the shuttle brought up behind the Japanese experiment module. I think the biggest one is Zvezda, the Russian module. Anyway, we need to find a way to join these together, but it needs to be for not a lot of, yeah, see, there's the flap mechanism. We need to find a way to do this, but it needs to be in a way that won't break the bank on part count. Will Gateway use CBMs? I don't know. I think it's going to use APAS, or not APAS, IDSS. I fixed the ogtag warning by changing the rescale factor in the config file from 1 to -1. Phil, let's just roll with it. If we have to, we'll do that. Thanks for letting me know that that's a fix. Yeah, Tesla Max. Yeah, crazy. Could you put the clampetron on the end of one of the small hydraulic piston? Yeah, dude, Creeper, I'm not really a fan of doing that and putting this on the main line. Like, putting that on a mainline mechanism. I'm not sure about it. When I say mainline, like the central nodes for the hierarchy, I'm not sure if putting a hydraulic in there is a good idea. You know what I mean? We could test it, but space station module docking port style. So yeah, like with the CBM, they basically just hold the two things together. They hold two CBMs together. Like the robotic arm, for instance, will just bring it together, and then they'll clamp the ports together. It's a docking port with no docking mechanism. You have to use the arm to dock stuff. That's why it's called a berthing mechanism, because it's not... Now, they still dock together, like a docking port, but a docking mechanism in spaceflight nomenclature, a docking port, implies that a spacecraft can navigate to that port, attach to that port, and then latch together. With the CBM, there's no interfacing mechanism between the two CBMs. You want the CBMs to attach to each other, get the arm, and move the module into place, and then guide it into place, and then lock. I don't want to use part mods, Tesla Max. I don't mind using scenery mods and like launch pad mods and stuff, like, or you know, extra runways or whatever. But I don't want to use part mods. And you know, Blue Dog is amazing. Just on a side note. Interesting. You know what I was just thinking? I'm like about putting a hydraulic on a mainline mechanism here, but also at the same time, twist lock mechanism. Like, okay, so the docking ports, dudes, you have docking port rotation, right? The docking port rotation is basically using robotics. So I'm kind of wondering if, and that's not really an issue. I'm wondering if turning the docking ports like that will work. Literally screws itself in. Yeah. So like, Tesmax, what if we did something crazy like this? And we made an alignment mechanism where you do that and then you lock it into place. But see, once again, how would we do that with the docking port? You know what I mean? How would you get it to dock? Because what I would like to do is align first and then dock. I think that's more of the use case that we need here. But in order to do something like that, we'd have to have a retractable docking port. Yeah, Joe, that's what I'm doing. I have it, Tesla. Yeah, I know it's on NTRS. I can find it. If you want to link it, go ahead. Yeah, Blanken, somebody just mentioned that. Yeah, I don't know if I want hydraulics on my main line here. But then again, with same vessel collision, that should hold everything together. You know what? I think at the end of the day, dudes, what we really just need to do is build something and see if it works. We're going to have to do a couple of test shuttle missions that test the docking ports, or just edit the freaking docking ports up into position and kind of roll from there. Got any rail lines near your place? Down on the Cape, Joe? The MBTA goes to Plymouth, but other than that, no, not really. Not nearly as much as in the city, dude. Rail lines don't really go down on the Cape much anymore, except for like a tourist stuff. And then in the summertime, they have a train that goes to, the MBTA has a train that goes to Hyannis. Yeah, Aqualix, that's what, yeah, we could do that. What page? You like pickles? No, I don't like pickles at all. I think pickles smell and taste like trash. Seriously, trash emanates the same smell as pickles. You could say that I'm wrong, but you'd be wrong. I'm indifferent about olives, kid. That's weird. I didn't know the Bruins smell like pickles. Hey, what's the Sharks record right now? What's the Bruins record right now? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You guys suck. We don't. You know what else smells like pickles? The way you say acetone. 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 You're an acetone, Sawyer. Yeah, dude, I can't stand the smell of pickles. They smell horrible, and they don't taste very good either. Just yeah, palate just doesn't like it, dude. What do you want from me? Acquired taste, yeah. Yep. Okay, Aqualux. See you in a little bit. Yeah, I know about what you were saying with the drive mechanism and whatnot.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, Deepak. I don't mind using this docking port here, but I don't know too much about this docking port here. That's the thing. I don't know too much about how it works. Another thing that was suggested at the end of before I went on vacation is to, you know, we came up with the idea a long time ago in Kerbal of making an alignment mechanism, but we were worried about the part count. So what we ended up doing was removing the alignment mechanism after the port was docked. I'm not sure I want to do something like that, but we could do something like that. Now, let's save that. And what did I do with career mode? I'm wondering what I did. I do have a copy of my station from career mode in here. I put it in here somewhere. Liberty Station Master Model. Yeah, we're going to have to make a rig to play around with it. That's all. These docking mechanisms are literally just same vessel collision with a docking port. There's no real way to align these modules. And that's really what I'm kind of like about, because I want to build something like this. And if we're going to build something like this, these modules need to be lined up. They can't not be lined up. Because if the two modules that are vertical are just slightly crooked, you're going to attach two modules and they're going to go in diverging directions. We need to find a way to get everything totally aligned. All right, let me do some research here. there's alignment pins. See, I'm like not really 100% on how this whole thing... The rotating docking ports? Yeah, that might do it. What the frick were you thinking with that? Oh, that would be... Dude, no wonder they didn't do that. That would be so ridiculous to actually try and get that to work. Why? I'm stressing out just looking at that thing. But I want to make it so we could do this. And I don't know, docking port alignment might do it, dudes. That design begs for a Kraken strike. For real. Hey, nice guy. What's going on? This is, I'm telling you guys, this is the hardest part of doing this. Really just figuring out exactly what you need. It's not building. Building's the easy part. Oh, that's the ET prototype. I'm fine, thanks. Hope you are too. Yeah, I'm good. I'm just trying to build a station. What I'm trying to do right now is I'm in a little bit of a pickle, dude. I'm trying to figure out the right way to really build a docking mechanism for my space station. Because, so, I have a space shuttle, right? For my I want to start a new Kerbal save, and I have a space shuttle, and the shuttle has a robotic arm on it. And I'm trying to figure out how I could get the robotic arm to build, to build certain pieces of the space station. But the thing is, I want this robotic arm in my shuttle to be able to build stuff like Space Station Freedom. And Space Station Freedom is kind of like, it's kind of like the ISS, but it's like a better version of the ISS. They were going to do it, and then they defunded the project in the 90s and cut the budget in half and built half of Space Station Freedom, and the Russians built the other half, right? Now, Space Station Freedom called for having two rows of modules right next to each other. I want to do something like this, but if I have the robotic arm putting this stuff together, I really need to make sure that this stuff is aligned. Like, these two ports have to be perfectly aligned when we put them together. Because if we put them together and they're not aligned and I go to build 2 rows of modules, they could potentially go in different directions. I don't want that. So I'm trying to figure out a good way to put the station together, a good way to put my modules together with the shuttle. But the problem is that I don't want each docking port or each CBM on my station to be like 300 parts. I could make something that can align us, but yeah, I'm not sure I want to do that. Earlier today you said you're a sports nut and would watch anything. What about golf? I watch golf from time to time, Alleviate, when I get time. Sometimes I watch it with my dad. I'm a little bit of trouble with this one today. This is a big hurdle to overcome, and the reason, it might kind of seem like I'm overthinking it, but the reason why I really, hey, that's Bob. The reason why I really, really want to make sure we get this right is because we're going to be building a lot of vehicles that rely on this berthing mechanism. It has to be good. It has to be right. The triangle panels glider sucks, Thomas. They're terrible. I mean, we'd have to go do kind of a little bit of a trade study on the glider on the panels here. Now, we have messed with this in the past. I have used this mechanism, and I know it does work. Let me put those thermo bearings over there. Yeah, Tesla, I know. There's a lot of moving parts, and we just don't have the part budget to do that. Now, Thomas, let's take a look. What's this triangle panels collider look like? It's actually, dude, that's, you know what? That's not too bad. Something is happening in Boca, okay? The shuttle arm is working, and Theix's, what's it called? Theix's website is working correctly. We figured out that we basically decided that the negative scale thing on those cubic octets is not going to be that big of a deal. So I'm moving on to figuring out station alignment systems here. We got to make sure we get this one right, because this is something that all the modules are going to be using. I've heard of people using multiple parallel docking connection ports to stiffen connection. Is that a concern? I do not like using multi-port docking Tesla Max ever. Kerbal hates it. I don't use multi-port docking unless I absolutely have to. Hey, Elbor. Yeah, hang on. I'm gonna shut my door. It's getting cold in here. We fixed a bigger issue with the exploding on launch. Yeah, that should be okay. I did fix the hierarchy strut problem with the tank. That should be good to go. Now, all right, so give me this thing right here. Flip this thing around, reroute that to that docking port. Now, what happens when we go to try and attach this thing? Obviously, that's not going to work, right? Like, garage stretch brakes on Temple. All right. Okay, I'm putting a timer on our stretch brake. It's 15 minutes. Timer. 15 minutes. Test. Testing. Audio sounds good. Cool. Orbital mechanic, it's a 59 F100. It looks good. It looks good on camera, but there is stuff that we need to fix. That is not a space station. Blame Sun Temple. We are on a 15-minute stretch break now. Yeah. I've got to figure out a good docking mechanism. How are we gonna do that? So yeah, but yeah, we'll get back to that in a second. What I've been doing here, guys, this morning, I've already done a lot of work in the garage. I really started cleaning everything up. I started cleaning stuff up and moving it around to get Freb ready. We need to, like, don't get me wrong, this truck, we've done a lot of work on this truck, but there's still a good amount of stuff that needs to get finished. I haven't even looked at the suspension since 2013 for the most part. The pinion seal on the rear end is leaking. It's leaking gear oil. We still got to revisit the brakes. I half-assed the brake system just to get the thing running and driving. It leaks. I screwed up one of the tapers, or one of the flares on one of the lines, so we're gonna have to make more. I have more brake line and more fittings, so I'm not too worried about that. And I have a better place to flare the tools that's right next to the truck, so I can prototype faster. Yeah, we got a lot of work to do. There's some weird there's wonkiness with the frame, or at least one of the leaf spring shackle perches on the passenger side here. The reason why there's wonkiness is because when I took the shackle out for the IRS swap that I did a little while back, it has the solid axle in it right now. When I did the IRS swap, I ended up heating the frame up a little too much and warping it a little bit. We gotta heat that thing up and knock it back into place so I can mount that leaf spring perch correctly. Because yeah, the passenger side rear leaf spring perch it has 2 out of 4 bolts in it because the frame's a little bent, so that thing didn't go back in together. So like we got to take all that stuff apart. We got to put the frame of the truck up on stands, take the front axle out. We got to take the rear axle out too, because we need to look at the bushings. This is, as far as I can tell, the bushings on this thing are original from like 1959. Original. They're shot. We need to fix all that. Yeah, Orbital Mechanic, I just bought this building. Can you hear me? I don't know if I lost power. Yeah, the mic isn't dead. This is charged. Maybe the base station isn't charged. Hold on. Hang on a minute. You guys might hear a little bit of buzzing when I charge that thing. Okay. But yeah, Fistus, I just bought this building, so a lift will be coming in the future. I want to put a lift in here. Now, what type of lift? I don't know. I'm thinking a 2-post. A 2-post dead center would be cool, but if I put a 2-post in this, that means we can't put 2 cars in. Well, actually, yes, it does mean we can. I was about to say we can't put 2 cars in here side by side, but if I have a 2-post lift, we can just lift one up and put another one underneath it. Is it me or is the camera stuck? If it's not one thing, it's another. Give me 1 second. Just give me 3 steps. Give me 3 steps, mister. Give me 3 steps towards the door. There we go. Yeah, this setup has some... I'm still working out the kinks for the auto streaming setup. But yeah. I replaced the rear hatch latch on my Jeep, but in my infinite wisdom, I over-torqued the bolt and sheared it clean off, so I Gorilla Glued it. Looks like you can go right into booster 7 after the break. Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking orbital. You know what would be kind of cool? A 4-post lift. A 4-post lift would be nice. 4-post lift, because they make some 4-post lifts that are on casters. So I could, you know, we could lift it up. I could move the lift over to the side. I could move it over here, lift it up, still have access to my workbenches. And then I could put 3 cars in here if I needed to store stuff, if I wanted to like store stuff so I wasn't doing any, when I wasn't doing any work, you know? Starship Orbital in December? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know, man. Starship fans, I think, are quickly realizing why SLS took so long. It doesn't matter if you're SpaceX. It doesn't matter if you're NASA. Doesn't matter if you're the Soviet space program. Building heavy lifters take a long time. They take a long time. Doesn't matter if it's SpaceX. It takes a long time. It's going to take time. Now, don't get me wrong. I think SpaceX will engineer it pretty dang fast. But, you know, everybody's like, oh, Starship goes so fast. Oh, Starship goes so fast. The Starship program in its current incarnation started in December of 2018. Here we are in December of 2022 almost, with nothing flying. Except for a couple of test flights. Those test flights are cool, don't get me wrong, you know. Yep, Joe. Heavy lift to orbit isn't easy. Bingo. Heavy lift to orbit, this orbital mechanic, what I tell people, because we do a lot of space stuff on the stream, and I'd like to think that I'm somewhat of a guru on it. I'm not an expert by any means, nor am I going to go try to build a Saturn V, or even an Electron, or something small by any means, you know? Don't get me wrong, I kind of want to do high-powered rocketry, and we could definitely do it. I have almost everything I need. I'd need a lathe to do that right, but you technically don't need that. But also, at the same time, like, what I tell people about super heavy lift is, look, if you're going to build a rocket that's 10 feet tall, okay? Building a rocket that's 20 feet tall is not twice as complicated. It's 4 times as complicated. Building a rocket 50 feet tall is not 5 times as complicated as building a rocket that's 10. It's about 20 times as complicated. The bigger the rocket you make, the difficulty goes up exponentially. And when you get into super heavy lift, it doesn't matter if it's SpaceX, it doesn't matter if it's NASA. It is difficult and it's going to take time. It's just the way that it is. I mean, it's funny because Starship is kind of, yay for the rocket equation. Tsiolkovsky, you piece of... I was going to say a lathe would be nice, would not be needed. Yep. Yeah, right, Hellfish, yeah. Finally joined the Rocket Club on campus. I'm on the Structures and Stability Recovery team for a 2-stage rocket that we're making. Cool. Should I apply for a job at RBPT? I'd have to move to England. What's RBPT? Oh, that's good. Red Bull powertrain. Oh, do it. That'd be cool. Yeah, do it, man. That'd be pretty sweet. But yeah, so, I mean, like, if you look, let's take the timeline of vehicles. The Saturn V, they basically started the Apollo program in 1963, late 1963. When did the Saturn V first fly? 1967 for Apollo 4? So that's 4 years, right? Not bad.
Not bad. Take the space shuttle. The space shuttle came in 1972. When did the space shuttle start flying? The space shuttle started flying in 1981. That's 9 years. Not bad, considering it's the most complicated vehicle ever flown. The space shuttle, I will say it's probably more complicated than the Saturn V, just because there's a lot more to take into account. There's a lot more to consider, you know? So, considering that Starship takes all the complicated things of a Saturn V and all the complicated things of a shuttle and combines it into one, and take into account SpaceX's high rate of iteration and rapid testing, I'm thinking maybe another 2 years for an operational Starship. Like, and don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean test flights, you know what I mean? That does not mean test flights. That means, you know, until Starship starts really running like missions. So like, let's say like, when I say like really running missions, I don't mean internal missions. I mean like HLS, stuff like that. Like as an, Starship is fully fleshed out as an operational system. That's what I'm talking about. It's gonna take some time. But once again, I have full confidence in SpaceX, and I have full confidence in NASA too. I mean, if you look at SLS kind of came around in 2014. That's right around when that thing started to really get going. But weird funding problems ended up pushing the first launch until late 2022, right? So that's 9 years. Coincidentally, that's right in line with the space shuttle, which is kind of funny when you think about it, considering they're similar vehicles, right? Yeah, exactly, Chuck. 4 years and all of the US government working on it. NASA had a bit of a leg up in a way. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 4 years to make super heavy lift capability is absurd. That's absurd. I mean, Apollo programs, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Hey, Tesla Max, 17 months. Thanks, man. In other unrelated news, POG was released 50 years ago. Pong was released 50 years ago in the US Coggers. Oh, that's pretty pongers. SpaceX literally had to dig up part of their launch pad. Yeah. Guys, I'm thinking for Starship, for a first test flight, I mean, okay, so like, let's play technical here for a second. The first test flight of the Saturn V was 4 years, right? That was the first test flight. So 1967 for Apollo 4. And then 1968 for Apollo 6. And then the first human-rated mission was Apollo 8 in December of 1968. So going from basically November of 1963 to December of 1968, that's 5 years for like operational missions for the Saturn V. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it's going to be a little bit before Starship flies people on it. Now, that does not mean that SpaceX isn't going to launch Starships in the next 2 years. I'm pretty dang sure that if the Starship orbital flight doesn't happen this month, December, it's still November technically, but if it doesn't happen in December, it's going to happen in January or February. We're close. Oh, time's up. Time's up. Nice memory. I could not do that kind of timeline recall. I'm good at doing that, dude. That's my meal ticket. I know it. I got that stuff kind of locked down cold. I figured out that my brain doesn't forget things. I really wish I had applied that skill to school when I was in school, but hey, it is what it is. All right. Break's over. Let's get back to Kerbal or Starship or whatever we're covering. I'll be back in a second. Got to switch mics.
All right, I'm back. Yeah, S, we'll get a lift sometime soon. There's a lot of other things they got to do around the house before we do that, but yeah. We'll work with jacks and jack stands, dudes. For now. Both Saturn and Shuttle got the benefits of a nice development funding curve. Novus, I understand the gist of what you're saying, but I would say that the Shuttle did not have that benefit, but... Yeah, no, that linear funding curve, really, that's why SLS took so long. And, you know, like, the crazy part about it is that once the money got in line with funding, which happened 2017, 2018, stuff started happening quicker. Funny how that works. Would not recommend digging out a pit for working under vehicles. No, hell no. No way.
Discovery, go and
Play 35 months, another orbit. But yeah, I'm going to. We'll just go jack and jack stands for now. I have a big jack. We can lift the trucks. We can lift the truck up, put the thing on stands. It's not that big of a deal. I don't want to do a pit. I'm thinking a 4-post lift with casters would probably be a good idea. Yeah. Anyway, how are we working on Starship here? How are we looking with Starship? Remo says, chat, actual serious question. Would you be interested in wedding shirts? I saw the idea online for your bridal party and thought, chat would like this. You hear your boy Bonato got sacked. Yeah, dude, I don't. That's a mistake. That's a huge mistake. The team has done the best they've done in the last 10 years. That's literally, you can't get. Getting rid of him is a mistake. No CH4 flow yet, so it will be a while. All right, let's get back to Kerbal then. See, this might work, but we'll have non-androgynous ports here. But it does give us a little bit of a taper, which is actually pretty cool. I fat-fingered the keyboard and hit 4. Hey, Empire, back for the space knowledge. There you go, man. I'm working on building a docking port for my space station today. I'm trying to make something that'll give us good alignment here. Honestly, fellas, I gotta get rid of all that. The reason why I gotta get rid of it is because I rerouted it and screwed the hierarchy on it. So let's just go here. Fairing staged. Is the idea auto alignment? Yeah. So orbital mechanic, I don't know how familiar you are with like APAS and IDSS. The Androgynous Peripheral Attachment System and the NDS IDSS, NASA Docking System or International Docking System Standard. They have an alignment system, right? They have an alignment system that gets you aligned, and then they put the thing in, and then there's the drive hooks, right? Like on the IDSS, there's 6 or 12 drive hooks, right? What, did you try arching your shoulders? Oh, he's trying. Yeah, Platinum. Yeah, the rumors are true, yeah. Well, they actually had a large ramp up mid-development. Maybe testing regime wasn't up to snuff, but at least followed the correct profile. Interesting. Oh, yeah. Oh. I haven't seen this before. Stroop. Oh yeah, you know what? I've never seen this graph, dude. Yeah, look at that. That's nothing. 1.2 billion for the shuttle, like total. This is nothing for something as complicated as the shuttle. That's ridiculous. I can't believe that. Is that adjusted for inflation? Even I don't know. Yeah, order mechanic, that's always been my thing, dude. You know, we can make bombs and we can make space shuttles at the same time. That's nothing. That's nothing considering how complicated what you're asking the space shuttle, the space transportation system to do. Like, your stakeholder expectations are so ridiculously high with the shuttle that the funding peaked at 1.4 bill. That's it. That's it. Lift idea. Pricey, but very nice. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Havocs, when I hit the lottery, we'll do that. $1.2 billion in 1976 equates to $5.8 billion in 2022. Well, yeah, 5 trillion doesn't make any sense for space shuttle development. Bio, this has to be adjusted for inflation. That's stupid, alleviate, but yeah, okay. It's not, dude, this, I can't believe this. I can't believe this stuff worked as well as it did. I mean, guys, like, don't get me wrong, this is about in line for, it's about in line for a launch vehicle, but I don't know if it's in line with for a launch vehicle of this type of complexity. You know? Hello, sir. I'm fairly new here. What's your opinion on Elon Musk and Occupy Mars? Love him. His juice. Yeah. SpaceX is amazing. Dude, I'm a fan of all rockets. Everything. There's no scenario where someone can convince me that less rockets is better. I want more rockets. NASA, SpaceX, Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, you know, everyone, all the small sat launchers, so like Firefly, ABL, Virgin Orbit, Rocket Lab, all those guys. I like everything. Blue Origin, yeah, exactly. Yeah, with what they're doing, I'm a fan of everything, dude. Everything. Seems a bit cheap for the complexity of the shuttle. That's always been my argument, Orbital Mechanic. That thing is for... Your stakeholder expectations don't match the purse strings. You want a Ferrari for Toyota Camry budget. You know what I'm saying? These numbers don't reflect the complexity of the shuttle. And what blows my mind is that, you know, Congress said, build us a space shuttle, right? And then NASA said, okay. You know, now Congress, actually, scratch that. Congress basically said, build us a Lamborghini, right? And here's the money to build a pickup truck. And NASA said, huh. Okay. And they did it. They literally built a frigging Ferrari of spacecrafts for nothing. For like pennies on the dollar, which is unbelievable to me. Like, where I'm at is like, dude, if you had doubled this, take those numbers and double them, the shuttle reigns supreme as the best launch vehicle ever devised by man. Unbelievable. It's wild. It's wild to me. Nuts and bolts were cheaper back then. Shut up. Well, wasn't entirely wasted, I suppose. Alright, so that's what I want here. Now, I'm going to give myself a ruler. Let's just build a good chassis for whatever type of port we need. So, do that here. So this is just going to be a marker here so I know where to make the fairings. Because I want to use same vessel collision here to get this to work right. I am impressed and mystified by your building techniques. I have 15,000 hours in KSP, man. Yeah, I'd hope I'd be good at it by now. But thanks, I appreciate it. So I make rulers with the struts. That's what I do. I make rulers with them to make sure that my parts are aligned. Greetings, Starfighters. You've been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada. It's one of my favorite movies, dude. Take that. No RCS thrust limiter off. So I keep it in the back of my mind whenever I play KSP, secretly hoping that NASA is using it to recruit. Nice. That's awesome. needs to be like that. So I'm trying to engineer an alignment pin here using RCS and thermometers. There. Okay. Now what we need to do is I need to take the next pin here. And we need to move this out like this. And then I need to take these and I'm going to attach them in the opposite direction, like this. Then what we got to do is take our guide pin here, take our guide piece, I should say, and move this and just make sure that we shim this to the right. Right alignment there. Okay, so here's an alignment dowel that we have here. These pins, the two RCS balls should pop up next to it, like against each other, right? But one of them has thermometers going in 3x symmetry the opposite way of the other. It's a pilot dowel orbital mechanic, yeah. We can use them for alignment. I use thermometers in RCS all the time to do stuff like this. You basically just gotta, like when these two ports dock together, here, what I'll do is, give me just a cubic octag or something to attach this to. And voice crack. The reason why I want to do this is because I want to go in here and go into sub-assemblies, and then we'll just... Okay. Cool. Oddly enough, SLS Orion was about the same cost as the shuttle and external tank, even considering limbo that Orion got stuck in with the Constellation situation. Yeah. I mean, Novus, that basically, like, you know, I'm not gonna make this about, you know, like Constellation or anything, but that basically just proves my point that anybody that said Constellation was underperforming, blah, 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 is an idiot. So anybody that tried to use cost to justify getting rid of Constellation is an idiot. That's because that's not right. It doesn't matter what you make. It really doesn't. That's something that I'm learning. The funding has to be right for what you're trying to make. But whatever you're trying to make, it's going to take time if you're going to build something complicated, you know? So, let's take this.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, Tourniquet. That curve makes you cringe. Yeah, it's pretty bad, dude. Block's load has reached the top of the strikes. Okay. This should work. What we have right here. This should work just fine. Hopefully. All right, let's switch over to Starship coverage. Let's see what's going on. I'm just actually, dude. This is fresh in my mind. Give me 1 second, Thomas. Let me know when the thing is fully tanked, because that's when we'll see the static fire. Okay. There we go. Oh yeah, I see what's going on. I'll bring this up in the other screen here.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
The air flowing methane. Yeah. I'm just gonna make a quick prototype of another idea that I have here. I'll just make it over here so I know. So, because I had an idea for something that actually could be even simpler. Okay, no, that's not gonna work. We might even be able to get away with putting 2 thermometers in sim like this and having a taper mechanism. Just literally taper. That's it. And that could get us nice and aligned. And what, you know, if it docks together, we could just release we could free float the docking port, you know? Hey, Inventum, what's going on? It's super heavy tanking, yeah. How many parts is this? Is one of these ports? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's actually, this isn't actually bad considering there's no like robotics or anything with this. And that, see, I'm not sure, like the thing is that I'm not sure if 2 of these things are going to align, but we're really just dealing with a rotational alignment. It's not any other type of alignment because these fairings, when they go to dock, are going to have same vessel collision on. And when they have SVI on, all you really need to worry about is rotation because these will butt up against each other. It's just a rotational problem. So, heck man, like 1 might be good enough. But actually I think 2 would be fine. Then if we do, you know, I get some of my checkerboards out, right? I mean, physicsless parts ain't gonna make that big of a difference here. Yeah, see, that'll show our alignment. Wondering if I have anything else that could be used for a better alignment system. The eye is not centered on that flag. Just kill me. Kill me now. Please, take me. We got an engine chill. Now the checkerboard was the best one. Yeah, I like that one. Cool. Drones are up. All right. Let's see what's good, dudes. Give me 1 second. We'll my mouse cursor is gone.